Yeah, LA Knight is blaming WWE Creative for his lack of fan support at the moment. Seth Rollins claims that Roman Reigns is full of shit. And we have just more proof that WWE is absolutely clueless. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling for another one of these random wrestling news videos where we just kind of cover all the news because there isn't really that much to talk about. So rather than make about 5 or 6 different videos where you're struggling to find anything to say, we'll chuck them in together. We'll have one big Royal Rumble, brother. And yeah, it's another early morning video out with Jake the dog. And this guy's got like the biggest dilemma of all time, because it feels like talking about wrestling now on this morning walk has become part of tradition. So Jake now has been forced to choose between a morning walk that he loves, but he's forced to listen to Wrestle Talk, or he can just forfeit the early morning walk and he can lie in his bed. So he's got a big dilemma, but today he's chosen the walk and he's chosen the Wrestling Talk. So with that said, let's get into it and let's see what is happening today. Well, we'll start with Seth Rollins, who came out and says that Roman Reigns' claims about making the World Heavyweight Championship relevant are complete bullshit. Now, I don't like Roman Reigns. I'll never like Roman Reigns. For me, he is like one of the most, if not the most overrated wrestler of all time. Although Cody Rhodes is right up there. In fact, there's a few people up there, but Cody and Roman are top contenders. I mean, I could argue Seth Rollins is another top contender, but either way, Seth Rollins, he has been currently, as of right now, he is, I think, the favourite to win the King of the Ring. Rumours with WWE is that he is the favourite, he is the one that they've chosen, or he's the one that they're most likely to go with, even though there is a couple of people they're considering. Seth Rollins appears to be the main man right now. But while speaking to Prince St. Pizza, Rollins teased a potential match against Roman Reigns, and this is what he said. He said, quote, "WrestleMania this year was a bit tricky for me, man. I tore my rotator cuff back in October when I was holding that title. I lost it. I had to give the title up. I didn't get beaten in a match for it. I had to forfeit it because I had to go get surgery on the rotator cuff. So I was out for 5 months. In the interim, CM Punk wins the title, takes it into WrestleMania, and he's wrestling in the main event. Mind you, my other rival, this fella named Roman Reigns. So you've got two of my worst enemies fighting each other for my title in the main event, and I have to watch that. So now Roman Reigns is walking around with my title, talking about how he made the title relevant, which is bullshit. I'll just say it, it's complete bullshit. He knows it, I know it, everybody else knows it. He sounds like an idiot when he says it." End of quote. Now, it is kind of hard to tell with these interviews now, especially like when kayfabe is pretty much dead and these wrestlers will just go in and out of character all the time. I mean, it's hard to determine if he's actually being serious about this. Is he saying it as Tyler Black? Or is he saying it as Seth Rollins, or whatever his government name is? I don't think it is Tyler Black. I think that's just his other wrestling name, but I mean, whatever. The point is, I think Roman Reigns is actually correct here. Even though I don't know if Seth Rollins is legit beefing with him or not, who really thought this belt was relevant when Seth Rollins had it? I mean, nobody truly thought this was the main title. I mean, they literally brought this title out because Roman Reigns wasn't defending the other one, and they needed another world title, so it was kind of like, okay, let's get this title involved, and we'll give it to Seth Rollins, and he can actually defend it, because Roman Reigns is too busy not showing up on TV. But it always felt like the secondary title, and you'd be kidding yourself to not believe that. And I guess if you go with the lineage of this title, it is technically the World Heavyweight Championship, and that title pretty much always felt like the secondary world title, especially like when it was on SmackDown, and you had John Cena on Raw with WWE Championship. The world titles on SmackDown for the most part. It did kind of feel like the secondary belt, and it felt like the secondary belt when Seth Rollins had it. So Roman Reigns is claiming he made it relevant. I think there's some truth to that, to be fair. I think he kind of did make it relevant, but Seth Rollins isn't happy. He wants to be the champion. He wants to be the man. I'm the man, Seth freaking Rollins. So he's not happy that Roman Reigns is claiming the title before him was irrelevant. And honestly, if you look at it now, what title picture feels more important? It probably is the World Heavyweight Championship, and that's probably just because Roman Reigns holds it. So yeah, even though Cody has been the guy that's been pushed the last 2 years as like the top dog, and the WWE Championship felt like the top belt, as soon as Roman Reigns gets his hands on this one, all of a sudden, this one begins to feel more important than Cody's WWE Championship. So I think that Roman Reigns has got he's got a point, I think he's got a case, and Seth Rollins probably just needs to accept it. You know, don't bitch about it, don't complain about it, just do something about it, you know? Fix it. Improve yourself. Become more relevant. Become a better wrestler. Become more mainstream. Then who knows? You know, maybe you'll be considered on the same level of Roman Reigns, but for right now I think Roman Reigns got a point. Right, let's talk about LA Knight then. So he was speaking to Chris Van Vliet about his current crowd reactions, and he addressed that they're not as good as they once were. And this is what he had to say. He says, quote, "In March of 2023 was the first time I noticed, but noticing it continued to pick up and continued to progress. We have just been all through that spring and summer. But the crazy thing is, I think there were a lot of people leaning on the idea that was going to be a fad. There were a lot of people leaning on the idea that was going to be a flavour of the month. That was going to be a passing thing. And now here we are, 2026. I walk in the ring last night. Now you could argue, yeah, maybe the reactions aren't quite as big as they were at that time. I'm going to tell you why that is in a second. But if you noticed last night, I still circle around, I get the thing, I stand there, and they still chant the name. Now you could say that's programming, you could say that's the passion, you could say it's whatever it is. Bottom line is still there. However, the reason it's not as big as it was it's still there. However, the reason it's not as big as it was is because right now I'm kind of just a man without a country, so to speak. I don't have a set of trajectory at this moment. If you look at last summer when I started, all of a sudden me and Seth were going for the title, and it's me in the Vision. There it was renewed again. So it's just a matter of making sure that I've got a direction, I've got somewhere to go, and I've got somewhere that people care about, and something that people can sink their teeth into, and then it takes it up from an 8 to a 10 and beyond. So I think that's really just the key to the whole thing, and it's kind of crazy that it's kept on this long, when I don't think a lot of people are counting on that being the case. End of quote. So, LA Knight saying that the reason why his crowd reactions aren't as big anymore is because he's not really doing anything. In the past, there was better creative, his character had better direction, he was going for titles, he was actually involved in feuds, so it gave the fans more reason to care, more reason to pop a crowd reaction or whatever. But now, the direction's pretty dead, he doesn't appear to have any goals in sight, he's not doing anything major on the card, so the fans have stopped caring a little bit. Which I think makes sense. And for me, that's definitely a dig at Triple H, it's definitely a dig at WWE. And I think he's basically saying, look, I'm the man, I'm the guy that can get crowd reactions, but it works both ways. I need your help. I can only be as good as you'll allow me to be. And right now, WWE's not really allowing him to be good. But I would argue that WWE aren't really allowing anybody to be good. LA Knight also spoke about how he's never really felt appreciated in wrestling, which is fair enough. I do remember a lot of people liking him in TNA when he was Eli Drake, but when you look at his career, he hasn't really accomplished that much, and I can't even remember if he was TNA champion or not. I kind of didn't watch TNA during that period. It was fucking shit. But yeah, LA Knight for me should be a world champion in WWE. But will it happen? He's 43 years old now. I think it's pretty obvious that Triple H doesn't like him. If I had to bet whether LA Knight will be a champion or not, I'd probably bet no. I think I would bet against LA Knight being a champion at this point in WWE. But who knows? I hope he is, because he is one of the more entertaining guys on the roster. He's charismatic. He can talk. I mean, put it this way. He's like the best. He's one of the best of a very bad bunch. I don't think there's many more entertaining people out there than LA Knight currently in WWE. But I mean, WWE's so fucking bad. Oh man, that's not really a flex, is it? Oh, I'm better than all the trash in the company. Whoa, okay, it's good for you, but it doesn't really make you good, does it? Right, okay, let's move on. There is apparently according to WrestleFotes, there is some internal frustration within WWE about the directions of Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. So, covered this in a video, nothing with her until Fakir's back, which is insanity. It's like, why not just go a different direction? Change the plans. It's not difficult. Or at least just give her a couple of minor feuds, a couple of simple title defences until Stephanie Fakir comes back. You can't just halt plans because someone gets injured. I mean, that's fucking retarded. Could you imagine wrestling back in the day? Somebody gets injured and McMahon decides to just do nothing with the champion for 6 months until they come back. I mean, it doesn't work that way. You know, two-man power trip, Triple H got that really bad injury, and McMahon just moved on. We don't know what the plans would have been for Triple H. We don't know how the alliance and the invasion would have went. Would Triple H have joined them because his wife Stephanie? We don't know, but what I do know is McMahon didn't postpone it for 9 months until Triple H came back. Fuck that, you know? At the end of the day, WWE, all these wrestlers, they're like a big giant puzzle, and you can't just stop building the puzzle because you're missing one piece, you know? You fucking you keep building it and then you'll figure out that missing piece at the end. But it's absolutely crazy that they're pretty much admitting that they're doing nothing with Liv because they wanted to do Liv versus Stephanie Fakir, and because Fakir's not available, then that's it. They're simply just saying, well, we don't have Fakir, so we'll just sit on our ass and do nothing with Liv Morgan. Why not give Liv Morgan some mini title defences? I don't know. If you don't want to waste some big, so-called big matches, then you could do Liv Morgan versus Lyra Valkyria, you know? You could do Liv Morgan versus, I don't know, one of the tag team champs, Paige or fucking Brie Bella. On paper it sounds shit, but if that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do. If you don't want to do Liv versus Roxanne, or you don't want to do Liv versus Io, or you don't want to do Liv versus whoever, then just give her lesser competition and give her a couple of mini feuds until Stephanie comes back. That's just basic wrestling. And then Dominic Mysterio.
I'm really trying to improve my flexibility this year, so I asked ChatGPT to help me come up with a few stretches I can do every day. They're super easy to incorporate before or after a workout or before bed, and it only takes me 10 minutes.
He comes back, that's just basic wrestling. And then Dominic Mysterio is supposedly not wrestling or defending his belt in AAA because they currently had El Grande and El Grande Americano wrestling. And the belief is that that match would overshadow Dominic Mysterio, so they only want one good thing going on at the one time. It's like, what the fuck? Remember when wrestling was great and you had 10 good feuds every week? You had Austin, you had Rock, you had Taker, you had Mick Foley, you had DX, you had Kane, you had all this, and that's just top guys, and then you had your upper mid guys, your mid card guys, your fucking lower mid card guys. Remember, you just had constant stories, constant feuds. McMahon didn't just go, well, you know what? I don't want to do, for example, let's say, I don't want to do a feud between DX and the Ministry because that's going to overshadow Rock versus Mankind. Or I don't want to do fucking Undertaker versus Kane, because that's going to overshadow Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels. Like, no. That's what you need in a wrestling show. You need multiple good stories. You need multiple good feuds. You need multiple good rivalries. You need multiple big matches at your pay-per-views. And their excuse for not having Dominic wrestle is because they've got El Grande versus El Grande, and they don't want to overshadow the AAA champion. So their idea is just to leave him off the fucking card. I mean, seriously, are they that fucking stupid? How can they be so out of touch? Honestly, man, it just doesn't make any sense. Does not make any sense whatsoever. Right, Ric Flair. So Ric Flair, woo! Ric Flair tweeted, calling out his haters. So basically what this is Ric Flair will just act like a complete fucking dickhead. And when people criticise him for it and when people call him out for it, he'll basically just play the victim and he'll make it out like he's got a bunch of haters that are after him, that are bullying him, when in reality, how about just take some accountability for your shitty actions, Rick? How about that? Woo! Anyway, that's what Flair had to say. He says, quote, "If all of you haters don't realise what I have done in this business of professional wrestling to make a fortune for a lot of people, let me remind you, 300 times a year, 1 hour a night for 10 years, this is a chapter in life that will never be replaced or duplicated. Get back to me when you've been there. From now on, don't call me Rick, call me legend," end of quote. This guy is so out of touch, man. Nobody is downplaying what he done. Nobody is refusing to give him credit for what he's done. People are calling you out for your actions, Rick. People are calling you out for being an asshole. That's fair. If you're going to be a dick, if you're going to do controversial stuff that people don't think is right, then guess what? They're going to say that. Whether you are a world champion or not, you know? I mean, look at Hogan. You want to talk about what Flair did? Look at what Hogan did for wrestling. Undoubtedly. Unfucking-doubtedly. You want to talk about making people money. You want to talk about elevating the business and the growth of wrestling and changing it forever. Hulk Hogan is the top guy when it comes to that. Hulk Hogan could come out and say, let me tell you something, brother. It don't matter if I said the N-word, brother. I made you all money, brother. I sold out Madison Square Garden, brother. You know, it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Who cares? If you do something wrong, then you accept it, you take accountability, you apologise, you move on. But Ric Flair, nah, he plays the victim because I guess that's just the way the Nature Boy rolls. So it is disappointing, but I mean, is it surprising? And I think the answer to that is no. Alrighty, what have we got next? So, what is being said about the King and Queen of the Ring? Oh, the King of the Ring winner. Okay, so basically, WrestleFotes are saying that WWE Creative, as of right now, have Seth Rollins as the favourite to win it. However, there's a couple more wrestlers that they're considering to win the King of the Ring, and therefore they've put them in separate brackets so they can change their mind later in the tournament. But WrestleFotes didn't give any names in terms of who are the other options. So, I mean, this could just be bullshit. But according to WrestleFotes, there's at least 3 names who are being heavily considered to win the King of the Ring. Now, Seth Rollins is the favourite, so I'm going to assume he's number 1. I think Obafemi, just due to the fact that he's getting a massive push and he's Obafemi, he could be number 2. And in terms of number 3, who could that be? Well, I've seen people say it's Dominic Mysterio. I highly doubt it's Dominic Mysterio. The guy can't even get a match. So I don't think it's him. I would probably guess... I mean, you'd like to think LA Knight's got a chance, but unfortunately I don't think he's got any chance, so I'm not going to say it's LA Knight. I think the other guy could be Jey Uso. Especially since Roman Reigns is like wanting him to get the other belt, and the bloodline stuff does draw. And if Jey Uso's competing against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, you can kind of tie that into Roman Reigns. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso, and then maybe that will help set up Cody versus Roman free. Because Cody's beat his little boyfriend, his little number 2, his little cuck, Jey Uso. Yeet. So I think that could be the free. I would probably say Rollins over Femi and Jey Uso. But I would much rather see LA Knight or Dominic win it, but I just don't think that's the direction that WWE are going to go personally. But I mean, I could be wrong.
Fresh fish.
I mean, I could be wrong. Whatever, you know, it's not a big deal. Alrighty. And lastly, Bully Ray is not happy with the treatment of Julia. He says that WWE made the wrong call in Italy and that they should have basically not had her take the JOB, do the JOB, job out in her home country. So Bully Ray says, quote, "I did not like the fact that Julia ate the pin, and I don't think a lot of people know this, although they did say on commentary during her entrance, Julia is Italian. Julia is half Italian and she's half Japanese. Julia speaks fluent Italian. I would have loved to have seen Julia promo sometime. Make more of a connection with that crowd and not do the JOB. They're in Italy last night. That would have been a great opportunity to have a 30-second promo. Sio Torino, il sono Giulia. Start talking in Italian, then Forza Torino or whatever. Like, give her a little something. Nothing. We have one talent of Italian descent who speaks the language. I'll be damned if I'm not going to throw her out there to cut a promo to get the crowd going." End of quote. I completely agree with Bully Ray. I don't know, you know, it seems like the fucking easiest, simplest thing to do. We're in Italy, we've got an Italian wrestler who speaks Italian. Let's have them come out in front of their home crowd. Because that's kind of like always pop people, you know, people always kind of take an interest in their hometown hero or their home country hero. And they had an opportunity to do this, but instead they don't do any promo. They don't really give her any sort of screen time, and she's just in the match to take the pin. You know, I don't understand it, guys. Absolutely insanity, if you ask me. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I agree with Bully Ray. I was going to say get Bully Ray in there, but then again, he was part of LFG, and that show fucking sucks, so I guess he's not going to do anything. But, I mean, come on. WWE need to do better. I mean, this is garbage. This is absolute garbage. How can you have an Italian? I mean, it's not like the rest of the roster's so good that you're like, well, Julia sucks. You can't have her on the show. Who are you going to take out and replace her with? Pretty much anybody on Raw. I mean, come on. You know, make it make sense, guys. Anyway, that's it. We'll catch you in the next one. Been Fog Wrestling. Thanks for watching. Leave a like.